Hey, soldiers, when it rains, it pours. We went radio silent on FTX and Sam Bankman Fried for a little while, and now we got a lot of news coming in. So we got back-to-back Sam Bankman Fried FTX stories for you. We'll get into his latest loss in court in just a second. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but I do want to keep you guys updated on what's going on with that whole issue and event. Listen, guys, go ahead and if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Easy to do. Subscribing is how you enlist and become a soldier of finance. Now, when you hit that subscribe button, make sure you let me know in the comments because I will then salute you. Also, hit that join button. I want folk to hit that and find out what we offer over there. Exclusive content that you're going to absolutely love. It's going to show you how the financial markets work, how asset classes work. It's going to be an investment that's going to have an incredible ROI for you. And if you don't know what ROI means, you definitely need to hit that join button. Hey, while I'm at it, I want to thank our members. We've got Migdalia Burgos, Liz Ahern, Gary Payton, D. Brown, Angels 85, TEK, Primox 171, code % for bath salt. Those are our members, and we love them all. So listen, we love all of our subscribers. Even if you're not a subscriber, we love you too. Need you to do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you vote yes on wanting to see this content pushed out to more people. You do that by hitting thumbs up. Now let's get right into it. What happened with old Sam Bankman Fried? Well, he's racking up losses here. He lost a bid today. It is the 27th of June, 2023. He lost a bid to have his criminal charges dropped. Now, we did a video where we talked about how they've kind of bifurcated the case. Okay, so I'll tag that at somewhere near the end of this video. But essentially what occurred was charges that he had filed against him by the U.S. government after he was released from the Bahamas. They kind of get a say in, when that will happen, they being the Bahamas. So they've taken those charges and pushed them out past October. The first charges that were levied against him, he's going to court for those in October. So this is actually, defendants do this. This is routine. You got to pull out all the stops to try to stay out of federal prison, right? Especially if you're Sam Bankman Fried. Because have you seen his hairdo? I don't think they have kind of hair care products in prison that are going to allow him to maintain that. A federal judge on Tuesday rejected Sam Bankman Fried's bid to throw out most of the U.S. government's criminal case accusing the FTX cryptocurrency exchange founder of orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar fraud. And I'd just like to pause and say that with regard to the government, Sam Bankman Fried does have a presumption of innocence. He has been charged. These charges are alleged. These activities are alleged. Government still has to prove its case, right? So we'll see. I have my opinions, and I will freely share them on this channel. I believe that based on what I know, which, granted, is going to be less than the jury knows. But based on what I've seen right now, if I was sitting in that jury box, I probably would go with guilty. The decision by U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan in Manhattan paves the way for an October 2nd trial of Bankman Fried, a 31-year-old former billionaire. Prosecutors accused Bankman Fried of stealing billions of dollars in FTX customer funds to plug losses at his Alameda Research hedge fund. On the last video we did with regard to Sam Bankman Fried, I just want to mention this. If I gave you the impression that I thought he invented that whole arbitrage thing, that he was buying crypto in one geographic area for less and then selling it in another for a higher price, I understand that he did not invent that. He did use it to make a fair amount of money. But no, he definitely did not invent the technique, but he was sharp enough to, get in where he fit in start employing it to make money. Then, allegedly, he started stealing a lot of money. The prosecutors also accused Bankman Fried of misleading investors and lenders and contributing illegally to political campaigns in the name of colleagues. Bankman Fried has pleaded not guilty and denied stealing funds, while acknowledging that FTX had inadequate risk management. Now, if I was him, and you remember, at the beginning of this whole thing, Sam Bankman-Fried did a lot of interviews. I mean, he was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal. He was interviewed by the New York Times. And that particular interview was done like in front of an audience. They were sitting right there in like an auditorium. And it was, broadcast on the internet, of course. The Wall Street Journal interview went out. When they say you have the right to remain silent, I think you should probably take him up on that and remain silent. He also did several interviews with YouTubers, okay? So he was out there talking. Yep. And I can assure you that the federal authorities have combed over that and are probably going to use his words against him. And it's funny because I know his parents are tax attorneys, but come on. Look, I haven't ever stepped foot in any law school, all right? I have watched a decent amount of Matlock, and I know, and Cops also. I used to watch Cops when I was a very young guy. Cops has been on forever. And they tell you got the right to remain silent, okay? Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. All right, Bankman Fried has, as I said, he pled not guilty. Now, him saying that FTX was guilty of inadequate risk management, that was his way, again, talking too much, but his way of trying to take this from criminal activity to put it in the neighborhood of, not criminal activity, but just bad management, all right? That's at least probably what his defense might come at it with. But remember, he's got quite a few people who have pled guilty, and they're going to, they're already given the government information and they're going to testify against him. Bankman Fried in May asked Kaplan to dismiss at least 11 of the 13 fraud and conspiracy charges he faced. Bankman Fried said some charges relied on a fraud theory where a defendant could be convicted for depriving someone of economically valuable information and not just tangible property. The Supreme Court last month deemed that an invalid way to prosecute somebody. All right, but the federal government's still moving forward with it. That's interesting, and Kaplan didn't dismiss the charges. But the judge agreed with prosecutors that the theory known as right to control did not apply to Bankman Fried. Quote, the defendant's assertion that the indictment does not allege any economic loss to FTX customers appears to be factually incorrect, unquote. Yeah, you got people lining up like, where's my money? Come on. And the alleged misappropriated funds clearly constituted property, Kaplan wrote. Yeah, if you got your money in an exchange, all right, let's say any other exchange, it's your money. Where did they think the money came from? It's customer money. A spokesman for Bankman Fried declined to comment. Bankman Fried also argued that some charges were inappropriately brought without consent from the Bahamas, where he was arrested in December and extradited to the U.S. An extradition treaty between the United States and the Bahamas, where FTX was based, says a country must consent before defendants can be tried on charges brought after their extradition. Now, I see why they would do that, because they're saying we're releasing this individual to your custody based on a set of charges that we see in front of us right now. If you're going to charge this person in relation to another crime after they've been extradited, then we need to know about that. And look, that could work in the favor of an American citizen who gets extradited on one thing, and then when they get into that other country, has a whole bunch of other charges placed on them. So I actually like this rule. Now, back when we did a Sam Bankman-Fried video dealing with the bifurcation of the charges, somebody in the comments raised a good point. They said, why don't they just try him in the Bahamas and convict him there and send him back to that prison that he was in, which makes an American federal prison camp look like the Ritz-Carlton. All right, go back in the stack. We did plenty of videos about that place. Wow. Kaplan this month said a second trial will be held on March 11th. So you got the trial coming up on October 2nd. And then those other charges that he was hit with after he got back to the United States from being extradited, that's scheduled for March 11th. All right. That gives the prosecutor enough time to work this thing out with the Bahamas. Prosecutors said they asked the Bahamas to agree to those charges, which include conspiracy to bribe Chinese officials and commit bank fraud, but did not know when the Caribbean country would grant its consent. And if you've ever been to the Caribbean, they, are very relaxed and laid back, and they don't, get down like us with everything being urgent. In fact, where were we? We were in some island. It might have been the Bahamas, where a guy that was with us, he said, what did he say? There's nothing but stress in the U.S. It was something like that. He had a little rhyme attached to it. Nothing but stress in the U.S. Now, take a look, because Sam Bankman-Fried also may have another witness lining up against him. There is an attorney. It is being alleged that one of the senior attorneys at FTX actually may have helped Sam Bankman-Fried defraud banks. Now, if they can get this guy, they being the federal government, can get this guy to flip and plead guilty, then he may be yet another witness for the prosecution. Check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.